And Knights Moralis just told a seasoned, watchful eye they've been summoned to the Great Hall, and the name she drops stops him cold. Ollie, or Rugio, responds and says, it just had to be him. Who is Beldaruit the Wise? And what does one of the 3 most powerful witches in the world want with Qifrey's apprentices? Chapter 30 is where the Great Hall arc begins, and it opens not with the battle, but with the summons. As we know, the second pentagram test arc wrapped up at the end of chapter 29, and Qifrey is down. And before anyone had a second or a chance to process what just happened, a Knights Moralis was already waiting for them when they came out of the cave. Yes, Lucy is already waiting with orders to take the entire atelier to the Great Hall. But Ollie isn't thinking about the Great Hall right now. He's thinking about Qifrey. He says, are you mad? Look at him. He needs a doctor. Lucy holds her ground. She assures him they'll see that Qifrey gets treatment first. But she also reminds Ollie that as a watchful eye, or the watchful eye of Qifrey's atelier, he has a duty to report what happened here. Agott grabs her head. Ollie kneels down beside Qifrey. Hang in there, Qifrey, they say. That's when Lucy deploys her pennant, ribbons like magical tools, and wraps Qifrey in them safely. Her windowway, she explains, connects directly to the Healing Spire at the base of the Great Hall. They can get him there fast. Ollie lays out one condition before they move. No harsh interrogations. Not like last time. If the Order can't treat these apprentices with basic courtesy, they're not sticking around, and he means it. And that's when Lucy reveals who is actually behind the summons. It's not the Knights Moralis calling them out, basically, she says. The request comes from Lord Beldaruit, the Wise in teachings. One of the 3 wise ones, the greatest witches of their time. Coco has no idea who that is. Tedia is somewhat appalled. And Ollie reacts like a man who just found out exactly who's running this meeting, and he isn't happy about it. He doesn't have a choice, though. He says, guess we don't have a choice. Come on, you lot. The scene changes back to inside of the Serpentback Cave, and 2 other Knights Moralis are on assignment along with Lucy. The twins, Etlin and Echo, tasked with searching for any witches that's still stranded inside. They bicker immediately. Etlin wants to make a game of it, but Echo shuts that down. Lucy reminds them of their mission before she leaves. Coco catches just enough of it to think even the knights have colorful personalities. And then there's Agott. She's a few steps ahead of Coco. When Coco asks Agott what's eating at her, she says that test actually mattered. Of course, Agott has her mind on the test. She wanted to make it to the exit, and based on her own skill. That was important to her, and she didn't get it. Coco responds the only way she knows how. She thanks her, and Agott saved her life, and she means it completely. Basically, thank you, Agott, for saving my life, for coming to me. Agott starts to say something back. Ollie calls out of the windowway, and he basically is scolding them. This thing is not going to stay open long. Coco turns and reaches out her hand to Agott. Agott walks past it without taking it. What were you saying just now? Coco says. Agott says, forget about it. And they step through the windowway. Now, the scene changes. And of course, Coco has just entered a whole nother world being at the Great Hall. On the other side of the windowway, there's mist, dense, heavy, pressing in from every direction. Coco can barely breathe, and Ollie, without missing a beat, turns and tells her, other way around, the mist is magic. It's the mist that's letting you breathe, or letting them breathe, or letting you breathe, Coco, letting everybody breathe. Don't leave the mist basin. Wouldn't want to drown. And Coco is thinking, drown? And that's the moment that this whole world starts to land more over and over again with Coco. They're not underground. They're not in a cave. They are at the bottom of the ocean. The Great Hall of Witches, the center of everything this world has been around, built around, exists beneath the sea. For a girl who grew up outside of magic entirely, this is the kind of thing that doesn't compute right away. The kind of thing that hits in waves because it's so fantastical. A frogfish launches itself past her. She nearly jumps out of her skin. Richard raises an eyebrow. What a novel reaction, basically, as Richard says. Agott can't believe this stuff like this still surprises Coco. After everything she's seen, and Teddy is genuinely shocked that Coco didn't already know about this place. But of course she didn't. She's only getting pieces of things at a time from Qifrey, and she's kind of getting them high level. But on this journey, in this arc, she will learn about the Great Hall more up close and personal, being there, seeing magic, seeing the world that they live in. It will be at a greater immersion. When it came to the frogfish, she wasn't just reacting. She's reacting to, like I said, everything. The mist, the pressure of the ocean above them, the creatures living in it, the fact that there are whales out there just moving past in the distance. This type of stuff is every day for those who live at the Great Hall. This is Coco's, again, first real look at the Great Hall from the inside. And it is everything. It is a whole world of experience for her. Ollie, in a quieter moment, wonders aloud whether Qifrey ever taught her about this place. Richard says Qifrey doesn't talk about the Great Hall much. And Ollie goes still just for a second and says, probably not a lot of fond memories for him down here. Of course, Ollie knows. He doesn't explain it. He just says he'll fill Coco in later about more of the details, and they start moving until a building comes into view, something that looks like it belongs entirely in a totally different world above water. And it's the Healing Spire village or building. It looks like some old European village, maybe out of, who knows, Germany or something like that, but it looks like an old European village. And this is where Qifrey will be going so that he can get some healing. The Healing Spire. Ollie knocks and calls out, and Sinocia answers the door. She opens the door like she hasn't seen Ollie in years, because she hasn't. Her first question is whether he has any burns. His answer is essential. Not me, it's him. And they bring Qifrey inside. Sinocia and her colleagues get to work immediately. She calls them when they're done. She basically says she'll let them know when she's done. Just sit and wait. And they do that, Ollie along with the girls. And while they do, Coco asks what seems like a simple question. Sinocia treats witches, but she's not a witch herself. Why don't any witches become doctors? And this is where chapter 30 earns its place in this series, because what Coco already knows at a high level is she's about to get the detail piece of it. But Lucy gives the short answer. The principles forbid it, or the Pact forbids it. But Agott gives the real one. Long ago, there were witches who practiced healing craft, and some of them, under the banner of helping others, began seeking immortality, power over death. And when those ambitions outran their ethics, they turned to experiments, human subjects, and it led to war. The Pact, the same foundational agreement that governs all magic, draws a hard line from that point forward. No spells cast directly on the body, and the verdict that came with it, witches would never study medicine, and those aiming to become doctors would never learn magic. What this means is that anyone that's in the Healing Spire is not a witch, and anyone that's a doctor is not a witch. Every school child in the world knows this. Ollie's reaction in 3 words: damn it, Qifrey. Yes, damn it, Qifrey. Not because Qifrey doesn't know this history, because he apparently never taught it to Coco. Well, we know he talked to her about the days of the Pact, including at a high level, all of this at a high level, but being around the Great Hall down, her seeing things and her asking questions, she's getting the deep dive. Like I said, she got the broad strokes, the healing craft, ban, the general idea that some witches did bad things, but not this, not the details, not the experiments, not how things are set up in everyday jobs as far as witches and non-witches that support the Great Hall. Not the war, not the exact reason the Pact drew that line. Teddy says it quietly. It's a sad story. Those witches started out wanting to help people, and somewhere along the way, it twisted into something that basically hurt them. So the witches of healing craft, not all of them were doing things like seeking immortality and trying to raise the dead. Again, this is a situation where there were some bad actors as part of the healing craft. And as I said in a prior video, when it came to the Pact, they threw the baby out with the bathwater. They threw the whole entire healing craft out due to some bad actors. In the best interests of healing craft, what they could have done was made more stringent laws to deal with bad actors, to eliminate bad actors, to subjugate bad actors, to monitor, root them out, and deal with them respectively. But instead of doing that, they banned the entire craft, which healing craft in its rightful form is not the things that the bad actors did. And Coco says what she always says when the world shows her another layer. There's still so much to learn to make sure things like that never happen again. Now, they've been sitting in the Healing Spire waiting on Qifrey. The girls are definitely exhausted. Sinocia comes back out. Qifrey will be fine. The wounds weren't as deep as she feared. He just needs to rest. She sedated him for now. Ollie tries to stay. Lucy says that's not an option. Sinocia ends that conversation immediately. Her patient isn't seeing anyone and everyone can settle in right where they are. Lucy tries to argue. Sinocia shushes her. The girls have fallen asleep. Lucy announces she'll stay too to keep an eye on everyone naturally. Sinocia and some of the healing, or some of the nurses, let's call them nurses, put the girls to bed. And then we get the scene that changes to the next morning. And there is a bubble carriage waiting for them. And the ride will take them to the center of the Great Hall. And this bubble carriage is amazing to Coco. And now the center of the Great Hall is exactly as extraordinary as you'd expect from a society built at the bottom of the ocean. The bubble carriage, let's talk a little bit more about that and take a look at it on the panel. A literal carriage enclosed in a bubble, pulled by a creature that's best described as a horse with some appendages under the sea, right? I wouldn't call it a seahorse. To call it there is an actual seahorse that exists, but this looks actually like a horse with some additional like wing appendages. Lucy calls it simple. Coco finds it incredible, of course. The carriage runs on a sigil of error forms, not wind. Teddy kind of corrects Coco when Coco suggests that it may be of wind, but well, she doesn't basically correct her. Let's say she educates her. And the error form generates air rather than moving it. Coco wonders if it's the same principle as the sea mist. Probably the same sigil, Teddy says, though the signs might differ. The whole system is a world unto itself. And then Ollie points ahead. The Great Hall of Witches. This isn't just a building. This is the center of witch society, where witches are schooled, where the wise ones hold court, where the rules that govern all magic, is shaped and decided. If the Pact has a home, this is it. And they're going in. The girls are getting out of the carriage and headed in. Lucy leads them down a hall. Lord Beldaruit awaits at the end in the Argentgard. He's requested the entire atelier. The present circumstances of course precludes Qifrey. The brush buddy tries to follow them in and Lucy picks him up. She's like, nope, you have to wait here with me. And right at the threshold, Coco turns to Ollie. Before they go in, what is Lord Beldaruit actually like? And Ollie chooses his word carefully. He's a creator of renowned spells. He's trained many others. As a witch, he's phenomenal. Ollie pauses a moment to choose his words wisely. I should clarify, his magic is what's phenomenal. That is the end of chapter 30. If you haven't seen my video on chapter 29, please check it out. You do want to know how the story unfolds in order. It's important to the plot. Another reason why is because chapter 31 is where the door actually opens some more. This is where the girls will meet Lord Beldaruit. And Coco will understand how important he is by how they greet him when they enter the Argentgard. The healing witch history is one of the heavier lore drops this series has handed us. Witches who started with good intentions and ended up doing the worst things imaginable. Let me know in the comments, do you think the Pact's rules around medicine and healing are a necessary line, or did the Order or the Pact overcorrect? If you made it to the end of this video, thanks for hanging in there with me. Do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. I will meet you at the next pointed hat discussion. Thanks for stopping by and watching.